right, folks, welcome to the Patriot Hour update video, 2/17/2018. We had Q Anon, or Q clearance. However you want to say it, you can't be wrong, folks. Yeah, he had posted pretty early this morning. Let's see here. Okay, so the site got updated. For those of you that were using it, I'll show you here. The site has moved. It was becoming overcrowded, over 600 times the amount that the resources normally allowed. So I will post this down below in the description section for those of you. Okay, so this first post, was it like 12:19 a.m. last night? Or 0:19. Posted a picture and it was like just waiting. It's just a skyline. Okay. So then we get up here at about 1:19 a.m. 0100. He posted this, retweeted this, posters, off of 8chan, I'm imagining, M-chan, QAnons. He reposted this guy's quote about Bill Cooper, William Milton Cooper, and Q puts big Q, which we're going to be going over a little more here. Bill Cooper, I grew up listening to in the 90s. I knew absolutely nothing, but I used to listen to him on the shortwave radio. That was post 776, by the way, for the, he put big Q. So we had 775 this morning, 776, and then post 777 at 0205. Clown agency. No such agency. RIP JFK. We will succeed. Pyramid will collapse. Thank Shell. Q. And then post 778. It was it was like a photo off the NSA traffic cam in London, and he put UK stay alert. And then 779, warning UK, London possible. This was at 0235, so yeah, 9 minutes after the photo. Warning UK, London possible car attack. 24, strike package B7V. Warning UK, IMM chatter. IMM chatter. X-ray 7 chatter. Q Delta. Okay, so there are your Q Anon updates. Again, this site, it's kind of, these dates up here as you scrolled used to change. I don't know if he's still working on it, but it's kind of off. But the timestamps on each post, of course, will let you know. We're at post 779 from Q. You go all the way back down, you'd be in October. Actually, October 28th it was the first post, and there's post 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there, that's how it's working, folks. Don't pay attention to this up here at the top so much right now. It is apparently not working correctly. Okay, so we were going to delve into who is Bill Cooper. Well, Milton William Cooper, like I was saying, was a former intelligence, he was on the squad for that. ran a radio show in the 90s called Hour of the Time, and had correctly predicted quite a few things. He wasn't psychic or, anything. His information comes from top secret documents from, the intelligence briefing teams that he was on. All right, here. Back up here. So, William Milton Bill Cooper, born May 6, 1943 through November 5th of 2001, was a radio broadcaster and author best known for his 1991 book, Behold a Pale Horse, in which he warned of multiple global conspiracies, some involving extraterrestrial aliens, which later on in his late career he found out was, he didn't really believe in, folks. It was a different agenda. You can look into that for another day. We're not going to talk about it, but Cooper also described HIV and AIDS as a man-made disease used to target, at the time, homosexuals mostly, Hispanics, and minorities, blacks, and that a cure was made before it was ever even implemented. He's been described as a militia, theorist, conspiracy theorist. His early life, little is known about Cooper's background and education beyond the information supplied in his some of his, paperwork. He's claimed to have served. He did serve in the Navy and the United States Air Force and the Naval Intelligence until his discharge in 1975. However, public records only indicate a period of service into the Navy. And that even makes sense on this, in the Navy with the rating code of sergeant, because sergeant's not in the Navy, including a tour of Vietnam, unless that was back in the, that might be something, probably back in, Vietnam time. He then attended junior college in California and worked for several technical and vocational schools before making his, getting into the radios and beginning in 1988. So, let's see here. All right. So, what I wanted to do is I had made a video of Bill Cooper, a kind of tribute video. And it's on my other channel. I will post that link down below in the description for you guys to link to if you want to watch it on your own time. But we're also going to do probably a decent amount of it here today. So this is just a little excerpt that I found. I got all his recordings from the radio broadcast from 91 till 2001 when he was actually murdered or killed. But yeah, I will get his photos back up here. Go through a few of those with you. All right, folks. So here you go. Here's Bill Cooper. Pardon the sound. It's rough. It was hard, just finding these are old and they were done over shortwave. So it was not very good quality. So you got a little bit of a fuzz sound in there, but just bear with it. The meaning's more important than the quality and whatnot. So.
I'm William Cooper, and you're listening once again to the Hour of the Time. This is the only hour that ever was or ever will be. This is, ladies and gentlemen, the most important hour in your entire life. For during this hour, you will decide your future, and thus our collective futures. I have been, for many years, more than I care to even remember, attempting to wake the sheeple, empower the people, and hopefully preserve liberty for our children, and as our forefathers put it, our posterity. When I began, I had a great faith in the American people. I had a wonderful feeling that if someone just turned their head away from the fantasy of their everyday life and the erroneous things that they had been taught and just gave them a glimpse of the truth, they would latch onto it like a thirsty man at a well who had just crossed the desert. I was very polite in those days, very nice, very forgiving, very understanding, very helpful to anyone and everyone that came along. Someone at a well who had just crossed the desert. I was very polite in those days, very nice, very forgiving, very understanding, very helpful to anyone and everyone that came along. And everybody thought I was a great fella. Wonderful guy, that Cooper. Yep, just ask him for it. He'll give you the shirt off his back. Any information that he's got, he'll give it to you. Oh, and don't worry. If you want him to come and talk, he'll come and talk for nothing. And I did. For several years, in fact. Until one day, my wife and I and our newborn daughter found ourselves standing in a ditch with nothing. You see, the sheeple of this world had sucked us dry, hadn't done any good whatsoever. None of them were active in helping find the truth. No, they would take what bits of information I gave them, bend them to fit their agenda, and take off in another fantasy, flapping their wings over the horizon. And if it had not been for some good people whom we had never met, never seen, and to this day I do not know who they are, and I have no idea how they knew that we needed help. These little envelopes arrived in the mail with no return address, no signatures, no message, no nothing. It's $5 or $10, $50, $20, and we were able to get back on our feet. You see, somebody would call me and say, "Bill, we want you to come and talk to our group." And I would think, I'll go. And I'll talk to the group, and they'll help me defer expenses, and they'll donate a little something to help us keep going. Well, I would get there, and I would speak, and they would all applaud and stand and say what a wonderful person Bill Cooper is. No donations, no help with the travel expenses, no help to put food on the table. And so one day I said, no more. This is what I do. These people who I am exposing have made it impossible for me to work for anyone else. This is what I do, and I have a right in a free country to charge for my work. So I did, and still do. And then at one memorable gathering, I was speaking, and when it came time for question and answers, one person raised his hand, and I called upon him, and he stood up. and told me that the information that I had just spent several hours imparting to these people was no good, of no consequence whatsoever, and that I was discredited because he had to pay to get in to hear what I had to say. And that was another milestone. My faith in the American people began to ebb. And it ebbed even further when one day in San Diego I was giving a talk to people and trying to wake them up. And about an hour into the program, a woman stood up and began screaming at me, yelling and raving, and froth was coming out of her mouth. And she said that what was happening to us is all my fault. It's all your fault. It's all your fault. You should have told us this years ago. And she began to curse at me. Because I've discovered that people do not like the truth. They don't want to hear the truth, especially if it pings upon one of their personal agendas, or if they belong to one of the religions or secret societies or organizations that's involved in this, and they don't want to confront it. And way beyond. And there's a reason that people are like this, because people, for the most part, are mindless sheep. The Illuminati are absolutely correct. I have discovered this. It has been one of the greatest disappointments of my life to discover that most people, the people that I have been battling for, the people that I have laid my life down for you can be sure that when the New World Order comes into power, my life is forfeit for the work that I have done. It has been the greatest disappointment to find out that they are absolutely right about most of what they call the masses. Whenever you hear somebody use that term, they're usually one of them. Are nothing but cattle, sheep, mindless animals, steaks on the table and beasts of burden by choice and consent. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's true. It's because from the beginning people are taught to be stupid, taught not to think, not to challenge, taught not to ask questions. Why is it that we are told when we are young that we have to go to high school and then go to work for somebody? Why aren't we taught anything about money in high school? Why aren't we told that we don't have to go to work for somebody, that we can go out and begin a business of our own and not be dependent upon other people? Why is it that you think you have to marry the cheerleader and have 2.5 kids, buy a brand new Chevy, and mow the lawn every weekend? Who says these things have to be, and why do you eat it up? That's what I want to know. Why do you think that just because you belong to an organization you must defend it rather than question it, especially when you don't know anything about it? And I'm talking to all you stupid, absolutely empty-headed Freemasons out there who joined an organization you didn't know anything about, because you were proselytized by a friend or a business acquaintance. And don't tell me you weren't, because that's the only way Freemasonry ever gets members. Nobody even knows it exists until somebody comes along and pats you on the shoulder and says, "John, we've been friends for 4 years. It's about time you join the lodge." Oh, and I know you'll all say you don't proselytize and you don't go out and recruit members or seek new members, and you are liars. I'll say it right to your face through this microphone, or if your nose was 2 inches from mine, I'll still say it. You are barefaced liars. If you didn't do that, you wouldn't have any members, and you damn well know it. You haven't gone through all the degrees yet. And I can assure you that even if you're a 33rd degree Freemason of the Scottish Rite, there are degrees over you. For beyond that degree, they disappear behind what is called the veil. See, I know more about your order and your lodge than most of you ever will if you live to be 210. You don't even understand most of your own ceremonies. You just go through them because that's what you got to do to get the next degree and be loved by your brothers. You see, I'm sick of it, folks. You're not going to win anything. You're not going to escape anything, and you're not going to get liberty back. Not at all. You're too stupid to do it. You're too ignorant to do it. You've got too many agendas of your own, most of which are to keep your little fantasies going around you so that you never have to look at the truth and so that you never have to be blamed for anything. But the truth is, if you want to know what's wrong with this country, ladies and gentlemen, go look in the mirror. Go look in the mirror. And you will see exactly what's wrong with the United States of America staring at you in the glass. Absolutely. Patriots? I find very few patriots running around in this country. I find an awful lot of people who call themselves patriots, but who also have agendas. You want to know what a few of them are? Quote, "You're not an American unless you're free, white, and Christian and own property." There's one. And there's another agenda. Well, there's so many of them, I'm not going to waste any time on it. Everybody has their agenda, and none of it has anything to do with liberty. I was on a liberty list on the internet today, and they were talking about kicking somebody off the list because, and it wasn't me, folks, because he used a lot of what they call inappropriate language. And they were using the excuse that there's a lot of women and children read these posts. Well, I've never known a woman in my life who hadn't heard every single word that anybody could ever come up with. And most of the women I've ever known in my life, when they didn't think anybody was listening, occasionally used a lot of those words. Reminds me of a friend of mine I once had. As a young man, we shared a room in a barracks in the Strategic Air Command at Shepherd Air Force Base, Texas. He got married, went off on his honeymoon, and came back and confided in me that he was absolutely crushed to find out that his wife passed gas. In his whole life, he never thought that women did such things. And children, is this some kind of a joke? I mean, how hypocritical have we gotten, ladies and gentlemen? Every bad thing that I ever learned in my life, I learned from other kids at school. And so did most of you. Every bad thing you ever did in your life, up to a certain point, was done with other kids, or to other kids, or by other kids to you. And all of you things that you're teaching your sons not to do to little girls, you did to little girls when you were that age. And all the things that mothers are teaching their little girls not to do, they did when they were that age. You know, I'm just sick to death of it. I am so sick of the lies and the hypocrisy and the bullshit and the manipulations. And you think that you're going to create a world of liberty and freedom? No, these people are going to enslave you because you must be enslaved, because you've got to be controlled, because you can't control yourselves. You can't decide upon the truth. You can't figure it out to save your life. You can't understand that if you tell a lie, you are participating in all of the lies. And most of you live lies from day to day, hour to hour, minute to minute, week to week, month to month, and year to year. It is incredible. It is so outlandishly incredible. It is almost unbelievable. A nation or world of people who will not use their intelligence are no better than animals who do not have intelligence. Such people are beasts of burden and stakes on the table by choice and consent. I think it is to the great credit of at least a part of humanity that so many people in the history of the world have done so much to try to make man free, to try to make man responsible, to try to make man live the truth. You know, I used to wonder why these people banded together in these secret society to preserve their secret knowledge instead of coming out and educating people and helping people with it. And now I know. It's because even today they'd still be burned at the stake. There's a lot of you out there that would be burning me at the stake if you could, simply because I've thrown the truth in your face and then I've ground it in. I'm beginning to have a much greater respect for the Illuminati than I ever have in the past. You know, they've been telling me for years, Bill, these people will spit on you. We know that you're telling them the truth, but they don't want to hear the truth, and that's why they have to be controlled and manipulated and led to the slaughter. And I always said in my stupidity, no, you're wrong. You see, you've been hiding the truth from them. All you have to do is show them the truth and things will be better. It will change. We'll have a good world. Peace on earth. Nobody will have to kill anybody again. We can live in freedom and liberty, responsible with the truth. Boy, what a fool I have been all these years. You know, one of the biggest differences between me and most of you is when I'm wrong and when I'm stupid, I don't let my ego get in the way. I can look in the mirror and I can say, Bill, you're stupid. And you better change your ways. And I do. Because I don't like to be stupid, and I've done it several times in my life. Why in the world did I ever justify hanging my butt out over the cliff? For most of you, I'll never know. Some of you I do know. Some of you are really good people. Most of the good people I know belong to the intelligence service or the Citizens Agency for Joint Intelligence. And there are a few, very few who don't. But most of you, I'll tell you the truth, after all the misery that you cause those who spend their lives trying to help you, you don't deserve the time of day for many of us. And that's the truth. You're going to get what you deserve. I can assure you of that right now. You're not going to have a savior in the next election. In fact, you are going to ensure that the election is lost to the enemy. And it's going to be the American people who does it, not the enemy. Stupid Americans, ignorant Americans, dummies.
Right, folks, I want to take a little break right there. Yeah, he'll pound it in your head too. I mean, don't take offense. He talked this way on the airwaves. He wanted to pound it into people's heads, but I'm going to skip forward a little bit here. If you want to hear the whole thing, like I said, I'm going to leave the link in the description. I will leave the link in the description section, but I'm going to play a little bit more here to finish it out. I hope you're enjoying it. Again, that's Bill Cooper, William Milton Cooper. Again, another really good one would be the Lansing, Michigan speech. If you can find that one, it's about an hour long. He's up on stage. The quality's kind of grainy, but it's the message that you can hear. You just don't even have to look at the screen on that one. Yeah, let's finish this up here.
so-called patriots are going to turn into petty little warlords, are going to rape, loot, and steal. And so are other people who are not even paid compared to Jesus Christ. You're really not worthy of all the in the world. My family and I are going to enjoy some.
Sorry, folks.
And police officers sworn to uphold the law, protect and defend the Constitution of their state and of the United States of America, blatantly ignoring the law, stripping the rights from citizens, committing crimes just so they don't lose their job. Afraid that if they lose their job, they won't be able to find another job that pays as well. You make me puke. You talk about gag me with a spoon. I mean, I am sick of this.
I just wanted to get it all queued up for you guys.
I'm so sick of it, you're going to see some major... Afraid that if they lose their job, they won't be able to find another job that pays as well. You make me puke. You talk about gag me with a spoon. I mean, I am sick of this stuff. I'm so sick of it, you're going to see some major changes coming on this broadcast and in my organizations. I've had it with you. My family and I are going to enjoy life from now on. We're still going to print Veritas, and it's still going to be the best paper in the United States of America, and this is still going to be the best radio broadcast, but it's going to be a lot different than what it has been. And my organization is still going to consist of the best people in this country collecting information so that we can deal with what's coming. We meaning me and my people. The rest of you, frankly, my dear Scarlett, can go soak your heads. You're really not worthy of all the great men and women who have laid down their lives and their reputations and suffered great personal attacks, all for you. I don't even come within the width of the universe to even being remotely a fly speck compared to Jesus Christ. And if that man, in all his teachings and all that he tried to do, ended up crucified on a hill, how in the world did I ever think that I was going to be any different? Or that anybody else is going to be any different? And this is probably the same attitude that the politicians in Washington take when they listen to their constituents say the government spends too much money, we've got to cut down on the size of the government and on the spending of the government, so they say, okay, we'll cut back. And so they start cutting back, and they start paring down. And they're going to close a government facility in your town. You were the ones that were yelling and screaming about the government spending and the size of the government, but now they're going to close a facility in your town, and you attack them viciously. You tell them they're not going to get reelected if they close that government facility down in your town. Don't you stupid boobs know that everybody in every town in the United States is doing the same damn thing? And that's why government doesn't shrink. Government can't shrink. You can't take something away from fools once you've given it to them, even if the fools know that it should be taken away. So government keeps growing and growing and growing, and it'll keep growing and growing and growing until it just absolutely collapses and a new order will come in. And a despotism will rule. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. The whole structure is going to collapse into total and absolute chaos. And a lot of these so-called patriots are going to turn into petty little warlords. They're going to rape, loot, and steal. And so are other people who are not even patriots. Some patriots will try to preserve law and order and will be killed in the process. And the ruling elite will simply go underground until it's all finished. Seems that somebody at the satellite uplink couldn't handle the truth either, ladies and gentlemen, so they cut us off the satellite. Well, that won't work because the tape is here and it's going to get out. What's going to happen is this whole structure is going to fall apart into utter and total chaos. The ruling elite are going to go underground and wait it out while everybody up here just kills each other off. Then they'll come back up and establish a despotism. And you will be ruled like the lodge rules its members. You'll be pledged to absolute obedience, and you'd better hope that the despot is a benevolent. You will destroy yourselves, and you will get exactly what you deserve, and those of us who don't deserve it and who want to live by the truth will do the best we can for each other. There really isn't anything to do for the rest of you. You go from one dead end to another. You don't like to be in the middle of the river so that you will get to any kind of a destination. You keep getting caught up in these little eddies that spin around and around and around. You are the flotsam and the jetsam of the battle of life. And you are tossed willy-nilly here and there by the tides and the waves and the oceans and the storms. Those of us who fight the battles are the ones who get somewhere. The rest of you, as in all of history, always fall mercy to the victor of the battle. And it never really matters who it is. For whoever it is, as long as you are the sheep, it doesn't matter who they are or what they do, they will always be the wolves. And all of this realization and this pain, I still wish you well, but knowing that it is your nature that you will not do well. You did not make this nation. Great men sticking their lives in the balance made it for you. You have thrown it away. And I hope God has some mercy, and I hope He can really bless you all. Good night.
All right, there you have it, folks. That was a little compilation of some Bill Cooper. Actually, pretty much all off one of his broadcasts. Do some research. Who is William Milton Cooper, aka Bill Cooper. Listen to some of his Hour of the Times. Another striking one. Maybe I'll do a video. He kind of pre-predicted 9/11 3 months before it happened. Live on the radio, like back in June, the end of June of 2001. He names Bin Laden and airplanes and don't believe this if they blame it on this guy. And then it happened, you know. I was aboard the USS George Washington during 9/11, and we were there on the morning of the 12th, early morning. And we sat out in the harbor for a few weeks off of Coney Island, providing air support. We flew more than 237 sorties. So that's a little thing for the history books as well. But there you have it. There was some updates on Anon, Q clearance, and we went over some Bill Cooper because that came up today, and that kind of just made me laugh a little bit, or kind of like, man, that takes me way back to some of my earlier years of research. So, all right, there you have it, folks. I want to get this video out there for you. So, I'm Mike from the Patriot Hour. This was your update, and we'll see you again real soon.